Children, come, come. You've arrived at just the right moment.
Oh, what is it, Granny? Need any help?
Oh, no. You've done so much for Leo Harbor. In fact, my old friends and I have been putting our heads together to...
A gift? For Paimon?
Oh, child, you are so very modest. Uncommonly so, even. But you mustn't decline this gift. When you traversed my old teapot in search of the cleansing bell, I heard your little friend mention that you often... That simply won't do. Especially since, fortunately, I have not yet grown so old as to see my subspace creation abilities atrophy. Oh, did my friends never mention that to you? Well then, I will not go into too much detail, but subspace, the teapot that you entered previously, was a little trinket created using that ability.
So, in the eyes of an adeptus, creating a magic teapot world is just child's play, huh?
Oh, indeed, the teapot is nothing to boast of. One such as myself must depart from this realm to create a world of one's own. Rex Lapis, on the other hand, but that's enough nostalgia for now. The gift...
That's right! Finding stuff's what we're good at, after all.
Oh, settle down now, children. There's no need... What's more, I doubt that you would know how to find the materials I am searching for. Some of them are, well, for starters, I require some shimmer soil from the banks of Dihua Marsh. Back, you would have to dig downward, following the roots of the glazed lilies. And if you were lucky enough, you just might. But almost no one has been able to find shimmer soil in this manner. So even more difficult to find is smaragdus jadeite, which must be chiseled from the rock of the chasm. Or so it used. In any case, smaragdus jadeite is an adepti treasure, and the adeptal power within is not something that most humans can withstand. Goodness knows if that child was
Well, since you're an adeptus, Granny, the person you asked for help...
Yes. I suppose she does count.
She counts? How come there are so many adepti in Liyue Harbor?
Oh, maybe so. Who can say? A fair few of my old friends are rather fond of mundane...
I'm back, Granny. Oh, I don't believe we've met.
Allow me to do the honors. This child here is Yen Fei. She's the one helping run some errands. Yen Fei, I believe you already heard of the traveler and his
Of course, who hasn't? Much has been written about you in the Millilith's records. You became one of Liyue's most wanted after the Millilith marked you as a suspect following the incident at the Rite of Descent before finally defeating an ancient god together with Granny and her associates, and subsequently being cleared of any... A shame that we didn't meet sooner. If we had, well, I can't say that I would have been able to clear you of suspicion. Allow me to introduce myself once more. I'm Yenfei, a legal advisor. Got a legal problem? You can come right to me. Oh, yes, here's my business card. You'll find it has my contact details and office address. If you have an urgent issue, just leave me a note at this address. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention,
All right, Yenfei, all right. Let's get to the business at hand. I do not think these two are in any dire need. You'll have to excuse Yenfei. She's always been like this. Ever.
Paimon was gonna ask the same question.
An adeptus? I guess. Kinda. My old man said he was one anyway. He mentioned that he once campaigned with Rex Lapis for a long old time, and then after that they had me, and once I was all grown up, the two of them upped and left on a journey, leaving me with Granny here.
Well, that's a bit casual for an adeptus. Aren't you guys supposed to sign solemn contracts to protect Liyue Harbor and all that stuff?
Well, my dad did say that he'd talked it through with Rex Lapis, and that he was fine with it. Even contributed towards the wedding gift, apparently. Anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. So, Granny, I've gotten a hold of most of the stuff you asked for, except for Smaragdus Jadeite.
Is that so? Yanfei, are you sure you can't find some other way? They have helped Liyue greatly, after all. It is only right that they are
I know, Granny, you've told me 1,000 times already. Well, the chasm's definitely a no-go, but there's still a chance. Hold on a moment. Let me have a look.
Whoa, that's a really thick book.
Commercial consultancy. Or Snezhnaya. Ah, found him. Krustle. A Snezhnayan merchant who once came to me with some legal queries on certain articles in the legal codices. He mentioned that he was considering acquiring some Smaragdus Jadeite to make hairpins, and wanted to know if... So, I guess I'll go look for him. With any luck... Oh, you want to join me? I suppose that's no problem, but it's best if you just stand by and watch. If you...
Wow, an Adeptus imploring us to avoid incurring legal liability. Best we be a little...
Wouldn't gliding be faster? Hello, Mr. Krustle.
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your...
You're too kind. I was simply doing my...
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, in the end, Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize.
Wait, isn't Smaragdus Jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about...
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because the contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, in return, I included a clause that guarantees the Smaragdus Jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times the item's value.
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim...
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance.
In that case, might you know where Miss Chow lives?
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Krustle. We'll be off now.
Here we go.
Oh, whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me. Is there something...
How do you do, Monsieur Chow? We understand from Mr. Krustle, my associates and I are...
The hairpins. I can't lend them to you right now. I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I hadn't even worn them. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value... My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering ever since we now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around. So we've been having a big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity. That's what the hairpins were for, to... But now that I've lost the hairpins...
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of deja vu?
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I haven't heard anything...
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Monsieur Chow.
Huh? Well,
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? True. Though surely there must be...
Right. I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do furthermore, the contract also expressly states that, and given the rarity of Smaragdus Jadeite,
Even higher? Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Chicho, look.
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? And whichever way you look at it, we've got to...
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any.
Please. Please, don't trouble yourself. However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossel in the dark any longer.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most So hold on a moment, Mr. Chow. When you first touched the
What did I feel? Well, my family has seen much jade pass through it.
Smooth to the touch. No, it's nothing. I just need to
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With... You lost them? Are you serious?
I'm sorry. Truly, I am.
Mora! Do you have any idea what I had to go through to get my hands on that Smaragdus jadeite? I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back.
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. It was in fact genuine Smaragdus jadeite inlaid...
Of course! Genuine article guarantee...
All right, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official...
Thank you very much. How could she lose my head?
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that.
Please wait, Mr. Chow. I have something... It's not convenient to speak here, so let's...
Miss Yanfei, what is this about? Are you...
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the Orin laid on those hairpins...
What do you mean? Are you in...
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless... I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus jadeite is found deep underground and contains very concentrated elemental energy. If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. It most certainly would not be smooth to the touch. Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time.
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier that there were elemental traces in Mr. Crossel's vicinity. If I've deduced correctly, he may still...
If that's the case, we should go confront him right...
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would... And then, he'd throw the Smaragdus jadeite into the sea the moment... After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. He would lose enough. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly what...
Well then, since you're so experienced...
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow.
Huh? Does there have to be a contract for everything? Paimon can't even keep track. It feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain...
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot...
I understand. Then?
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now, and I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page. Finally, if you could just use this ink pad.
This contract has so many pages. Paimon's all
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the
I've had a read through.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this.
Miss Yunfei, I have to ask.
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus Jadeite myself. Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter. But also, the idea of someone abusing the law. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... where? Ah, I've got it! Let's pay a visit to... If Mr. Crossell had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been a...
Try your luck betting on Jade? Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to... Surely not more spurious claims that my jade betting is...
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnayan merchant named Crossell enlisted your ore press...
A Snezhnayan merchant named... I do remember that. He brought me a piece of ore. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragd. He was quite generous with his money, too.
Do you have...
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore, after all, so...
Thank you, sir. We'll take a look at them.
Huh? If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross-sections and patterning suggest that these are... Yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite.
A thin layer of
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of element...
Is that so? So, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao is...
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them, there may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that and, I'm sure, a significant difference in the cost of
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on...
But never mind, Shirto. Why wouldn't...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them.
Miss Yenfei?
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr. Crossell did indeed...
Yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me.
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow...
Of course.
Oh, I have my reasons. This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings...
Yes, I see.
I wouldn't say there's been an incident. Just a minor issue.
With this hard evidence to back us...
On the contrary, this is far from... If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Nope. Aha! Got it! Singxi. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith. Let's go pay her a visit.
Well, that was quick. How come you know...
Because lots of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts. And contracts, well, I should say laws, are very important to us. But the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily complicated. How can I put this? It just seems like they're hard to understand and impossible to finish. As such, legal advisors like myself provide quite the popular service indeed.
So you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you say that it's hard to understand and impossible to finish?
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized all the legal codices. You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor's bread. Oh, this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again, with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go.
Oh, Miss Yenfei, it's you. Has something happened?
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. Has a merchant by the name of Crossell asked you to put him in contact with a
Crossell? Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, this order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed quite recently, which is why I remember it so well.
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to...
Miss Inksy, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossell commissioned you to find a
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high, so we had to put this transaction on record with the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Mr. Crossell wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures, so I filed it on his behalf. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself, the item is called Smaragdus Jadeite Twin Phoenix Pins. The inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite. The document even has the official seal of the ministry on it.
Thank you, Sinksy.
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway.
Nothing you need to worry about, just a minor issue.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or some...
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last...
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What do you want to speak to him for?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus Jadeite is harmful to the human body. Once we have this final piece of evidence in our hands, we can wrap this case up.
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little Chi-Chi, she's out gathering herbs. And if it isn't Miss Yenfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor. What business brings you here, might I inquire? Some charlatans peddling ineffectual medicines again, no doubt?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus Jadeite.
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th commentary on the 7 Mountain Treatises. The 7 Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains, and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall ill. Worst case scenario, they'll suffer great changes in personality and their illness will only ever get worse. Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. Knowing you, Yenfei, and given the specific nature of your question, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to the pharmaceutical peculiarities of Smaragdus Jadeite?
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baiju.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document, won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a curiosity for Smaragdus Jadeite recently. But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted to one... I wonder, Miss Yenfei, if your pressing bit...
You needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you.
You're too kind. Take care now.
That Baiju guy is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been like that. Well, we have the evidence we need. Let's go find Mr. Crossell.
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to...
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded. I can now provide a final figure for the amount payable.
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the honors, Miss Yan?
Of course. According to the Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction price in Mora.
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Surely there's been some kind of mistake, Miss Yanfei.
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus jadeite twin phoenix pin. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article...
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is somehow fake?
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner, Chateau.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between Smaragdus jadeite and Smaragdus nephrite. How does this prove anything? In any case, Smaragdus nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite. So I had him cut away the nephrite, he returned the valuable jadeite core to me, and some nephrite samples remain in the
That's an unsubstantiated...
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated.
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all.
Hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just the thing. Show him.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all.
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this...
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hairpins are...
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't revealed yet. Traveler, would you do the honors? This shall serve as
What's this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. Sustained contact with Smaragdus jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause a... Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But for you to have rented out such a dangerous item, I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work. However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient considering that, as you say, you were ignorant of the danger. Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence presented here will be... I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigations.
What? Wait! I knew.
Oh, so you knew? Oh, dear.
Huh? No, The hairpins
aren't actually inlaid with genuine... You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay... Mr. Crossell, your answer, please. My client and I are...
He's seriously intimidating right now. It's like she's a different person.
I admit it. I confess. The ore I had inlaid on those hairpins was... But I'm a victim in all of this, too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring... But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel... I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of... That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from Smaragdus nephrite. I kept the real Smaragdus jadeite in a specially made box. I was worried that someone would see through it, which is why I only dared to rent them out, not sell them. And then to top it all off, Jiqiao lost the hairpin...
Exactly! If they weren't the real deal...
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that Smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners... If word got out that I sold a pair of fake hairpins, then...
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client.
10 times?
Crossell looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow, 20% of that sum will...
20%? That's as much as I spent on that Smaragdus jadeite!
There's no need. It's fine. You don't have to pay me that much more. Even if the Smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear
Ms. Jiqiao...
However, Mr. Crossell, since you have no use for that chunk of Smaragdus jadeite...
What? But all right, then.
Miss Yanfei, I'll turn the Smaragdus jadeite...
Well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go, but whatever.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yunfei.
Oh, come on. No need to stand on ceremony.
Well,
Well then, that's good. Mr. Crossell, it seems that my client has no...
Is that so? That's good. That's good.
actually, Mr. Crossell, I'd like to talk business for a second, if I may. I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the ore business, and we have a fair stock of fine ores. If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and our choice ores, I think we could...
Let me think for a moment.
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus Jadeite that Granny wants too. All's well that ends well, eh?
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all over the... even though the solution didn't involve actually finding the hairpins.
The right solution depends on your perspective on the problem. The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay compensation. So, rather than looking high and low for some hairpins, proving that the rented item was an Adeptus. Speaking of, you took part in that battle, didn't you? In which case, Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans. The title of Adeptus means precious little to me compared to my job as a legal advisor. In any case, don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today needs legal consultancy far more than it needs adeptal powers?
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely disagree with your reasoning.
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a visit.
This is a peaceful neighborhood.
Ah, you've returned. How did it go? Good, good. Then we have all the
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now.
Oh, you. All right, then. Go see to your business.
I'm off then. Bye! Oh, yes, Traveler. Make sure you don't lose the business card I gave you. I've been looking into the laws of other nations as well. If you should ever bump into any trouble with the law, come find me directly.
Come now, child. Are you leaving or are you not? If you...
I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
That child. Goodness knows where she learned to be so rambunctious. Her father was hardly... Indeed she is. Liyue has changed, and the Adepti must also learn to change. Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she is also the most Liyue is not the same place I once knew. All right, then. Let us speak of this no more. Back on topic. I believe that I still owe you a little gift.
Ooh, Paimon's so excited! How is it made?
It is but a single teapot. It shan't take long at all. Just wait here for a moment. There we go. This Serenity Pot is all... Hold it firmly. If you were to drop it, oh goodness, take these blueprints with you as well. You'll need them.
Wait a minute, Granny! How exactly are we supposed...
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I've already arranged for a certain little helper to await you with it.
Wow! This teapot seems even bigger inside than Madame Ping's. There's even a huh? But there's just a whole load of nothing around it. Hey! There's a perfectly good house right still. Why is it so... Oh, wait a second.
Well, it seems that we have a...
It's a huge finch!
Excuse me, I am not a finch. Hang on a moment. What am I supposed to be called? Oh, call me. I suppose you may call me
So you're the little helper.
Madam Ping? Oh, you must mean Ping. Yes, she did summon me here. You may leave all matters regarding the upkeep of your journey may be far from over. But at least though it is the Adepti who create realms such as this, they generally do not have the time of day to attend. Thus, we teapot spirits were created to help guard their realms, and you may consider me now allow me to explain this realm to you. Have you any blueprints on you? Specifically, as long as you have a blueprint, you can
Blueprints? Oh, that's right!
Yes, these are the blueprints I'm Just commit the image of the objects to memory and then simply release the thought from your mind and the object...
Wow! Is that all it takes? Then we could build a whole city!
I doubt it. A golden-eyed adeptus explained this to me at some point in the past. He said that even though subspace creation is a product of adeptal power, this world is not a true one after all. It provides merely a moment of brief respite.
A golden-eyed adeptus?
I hardly remember myself. What's more, I have well, let's not dwell on that. Have a look around. If there's anything you would like to